Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wingcat Sports, and it's our Lions post game for the Lions versus Steelers. A little bit late to it, but still giving our opinions on exactly what's going on with it. For the most part, right, Hendon Hooker had another good showing. I think he is going to be our QB2, especially since Nate Sudfeld didn't even come into the game. He had Jake Fromm come into the game.
Well, the odd thing is with that is that I've heard some people say that the reason Hooker played the full game was because Sudfeld had already been solidified as the number two.
I would assume he isn't if he didn't play.
They did that in Dallas with Trey Lance, where Trey Lance played the entire game, but he is not going to be the number two. So I'm curious to see what happens. I think most of Detroit, most of the pundits I've heard, most of the opinions I've heard, I don't see how they could think that Nick Sudfeld is better than Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker, I think, should be number two. He had a touchdown and interception, threw for 114 yards, rushed for another 93.
Right.
A QB, that's kind of what you like to see from him.
A lot of excitement. It was fun watching those games when he was in.
Yeah, I think that he 100% should be the backup quarterback. Nate Sudfeld should be off the team. And we can just continue on with Jake Fromm, who threw six.
Throw him on the practice squad.
Fromm was 6 for 8 for 89 yards in his lone appearance during the preseason.
He's out.
But he's definitely not going to be QB2.
No, he isn't going to be QB3. I mean, I think Sudfeld should be on the practice squad, but like I said, that's weird. That's not the feeling that I'm getting from Dan Campbell. So we'll see.
Rushing wise, this game, not a lot happened outside of Hendon Hooker. He had Jake Funk, who ran for 40, Jamar Jefferson, who ran for 29, Xavier Knight for 27. Outside of that, there was no rushing really. I think your third spot is going to end up you're probably going to actually carry 4 running backs and having Vaki and Reynolds on the team. I think today was just let's make sure none of them gets hurt kind of day. Who's going to make the practice squad?
Right. I think, again, most people are excited about Vaki and seeing what they saw in the preseason, at least. We know what we got with Reynolds. But Vaki seems to have a few more skills in his skill set.
Yes.
Than Reynolds.
I mean, Vaki's going to be good on special teams. He can play safety in a pinch. So
seems to be a better receiver.
So I would
better offensive weapon than Reynolds.
I would not be. Vaki should be on the team, no problem. He will not be on the practice squad. Going to the receiving end, Maurice Alexander led the team with 4 catches for 60 yards, but Isaiah Williams continues to show himself as a possibility of being on the team. Likely, I see him as a wide receiver 5 and a good backup to our special teams because he has done good on special teams receiving kicks. So I expect probably, if I had to take a guess, Isaiah Williams will be on the team, and maybe Maurice Alexander as like a 6. But outside of that, I don't know who's really standing out in the wide receiver realm of things.
Yeah, most people think DPJ is gone, Kennedy gone, and that sounds like Isaiah Williams probably. It's probably one of the weaker parts of our team. We don't have much depth at all at wide receivers.
But you make up for that with your tight ends and running backs being able to catch. So
that is true. We have, and we're thinking Jamison Williams is going to take a big step forward this year. Khalif Raymond's always solid, and of course St. Brown.
No, you have decent top 3. Then you got Laporta. Behind Laporta, you do have the question on who's going to be that tight end. Brock Wright, I think, was solidified his position as always on the team as a tight end 2. 3 is the question: did Zylstra do enough to put him back in the conversation as being number 3? Is James Mitchell number 3? He did drop his 1 target, right. So, and then you had Zylstra who caught 4 for 29.
And when you're barely hanging on by a thread, you can't drop your 1 target.
So I think Zylstra probably is going to make way to being our tight end 3.
He's a better blocker, better all-around player.
And he would have been on the team last year if not for, that injury during training camp.
Yeah, we were there.
So I would assume Zylstra has solidified his spot back on the team. And you don't have a bad tight end room past Laporta. They're capable tight ends.
Capable. Yes.
They're not like, oh, no, we have to deal with this guy. capable, and we shouldn't worry if Laporta gets hurt about necessarily
how
too
many
much
teams
happening.
carry 2 all-star tight ends anyway? No, not many.
But not many carry multiple capable tight ends.
Right.
So
I mean,
you have multiple capable tight ends, which is
I
good.
think we're fine.
Going on to the defensive end, I didn't really see too much impressiveness out of the defensive end. But we'll see who ends up sticking out. I know James Houston had another sack today. There's talks that his spot on the team might not be guaranteed. So we'll see if anybody takes his spot or if they end up going with keeping Houston on the team. He's the only one where I'm kind of shocked a little bit that he might not be on the team with all the talk that he has had and all the hype behind him, especially from a couple years ago, and then the injury last year kind of derailed everything. But outside of that, I haven't heard too much of who's going to pull away as an extra on the defensive side.
Right. I like I said, we know Hutchinson, Reeder, McNeil is who's going to be the depth people. Martin looked a little hurt. I didn't get much of a report after that. Does it look like he's okay?
I haven't heard anything about it,
so
this is all more than 24 hours after the game. So
and it's going to be a deep line. They're going to be able to rotate quite a bit. I'm just hoping DJ Reeder's in there.
So we'll see who ends up staying on the team, who does not, because that there is a lot of who from the offseason where we talk about, like Betts, he didn't do anything this game. So he had one tackle and that was it. So he probably is practice squad. I know there's talk about where Pascal might be on the team. There's talks about Houston. You got Uku, who has been doing decent in the preseason. There's a lot of question marks of exactly where they're going to go depth-wise on defense. We kind of know who's going to start. We just don't know who's going to be the rotational pieces on the team throughout the year. And then special teams, I think we have locked in that Jake Bates is going to be our kicker. No doubt about it. Through the whole preseason, he basically kicked every single field goal. They never gave any of the other kickers a chance in the preseason game. So Bates is your kicker for the year, and we'll see how that goes.
Right. I mean, his consistency is still an issue, but we'll see.
He was 1 for 2 on field goals. This game, 3 for 3 on extra points. His longest was a 46.
I thought he missed 2 extra points in the preseason.
Well, throughout the whole preseason, he might have, but he was 3 for 3 for the game. So he hit all his extra points for the game. So, I mean, we'll see how the year goes. Again, most of us are already pretty confident. I mean, the crowd was a little bit hectic for a preseason game, causing 2 false starts. So you could just imagine how this year is going to go, especially for those home games.
I think Bates is going to be a little overwhelmed at times. And like I said, I'm kind of interested in seeing how he turns out, but he's our kicker. So,
I mean, Dan Campbell doesn't mind going for it on 4th down anyway. So we'll see how it fully ends up going. With that being said, though, right, 24-17 win for the Lions. Good thing for the end of preseason on a win. Going into a couple weeks break before we go face the Rams on Sunday Night Football to open the season. Hopefully start out with a win. We'll get into that game once the game gets closer. But with all that being said, if you'd like to see, like, comment, subscribe, let us know who you think might make the team, how you thought the preseason went. And until next time, hope to see everybody soon.
Wait a second.
What?
Weren't we going to talk about linebackers and Jack Campbell? I'm really curious what you think.
Well, linebacker? I mean, I haven't heard anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. We have not heard nothing about Jack Campbell all preseason. And I am a little bit concerned.
About your cornerback situation?
Well, yeah, about him. Whether
linebacker
situation going to live up to. I haven't heard good, bad, any.
I haven't heard anything about any linebackers. Not a single one of them.
I hope that's a good thing.
You haven't heard anything about Rodriguez. You haven't heard anything about Campbell, Anzalone.
I hope that's a good thing.
Anything.
This is a bit of weird preseason because we know who our starters are.
You're not used to being good.
Right, and this is unusual for the Lions. So it's been an uneventful for the most part, with maybe 2 or 3 new faces you're going to see on this team.
Yeah. But we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
This is going to be interesting. But like I said, if you like what you know, like, comment, subscribe, share our video around. Give us your thoughts on everything. And until next time, hope to see everybody soon.